Hey folks, this is Chris Rowland for 1-800-PocketPC.com, and this is the HTC Titan. So here we have it, the HTC Titan in all its glory. This thing is pretty massive, mostly because of the 4.7-inch display which we have here, which takes up pretty much the entire front of the device. It is all screen. Down below it we have the 3 required buttons that you have to have, or else Microsoft will tell you off. Whether there's a back button, start and search. Now they're all capacitive. Personally I prefer hardware buttons, physical ones. I like the clickiness, clicky. But no, these vibrate slightly when you tap them. However, there is no setting to turn off the haptic feedback, so that's just a thought. You know, HTC, maybe add that in at some point for those who don't like it. Up at the top we have a little shiny silver HTC logo up there, and then next to it is the little camera which is used, well, or will be used mainly for video calling when there's an app for that. Also hidden along up here is the proximity sensor and ambient light sensor, and at the very top we have, if it can focus on it, it has the speaker grill. Now, that's pretty much it. The front is just mostly this display. Sadly, one of the worst things and best things about this phone is that display, because it is rather large and pretty, but because it is a Windows phone, it is stuck at being WVGA resolution, meaning it is 480 pixels across and 800 pixels down. And that means that because it's so big, with so few pixels compared to some other competitors, you do end up with pixelation. But I might go more into that a bit later. Anyway, that's the screen. Other things we have around here are the various buttons. Up at the top we have the power button and the the audio input, so you can put in your own headphones or speakers. Along this side we have the volume up and down and the camera button. Now, some people asked how comfortable it is to actually use the camera on this, and it's actually alright. It's perfectly fine. Despite being quite a big device, it still feels fine taking photos. However, I do find that sometimes I struggle with finding these buttons without having to look. So I always have to look and see where they are, or else I'll just be fumbling around for a couple of minutes. Down at the bottom, there isn't really anything. There is a button here which takes off the back, and then on this side we have the micro USB port, which may or may not, most likely not, do video out, but no idea on that front. Other things on here is microphones. There is a microphone down at the bottom. I don't know how well this is focusing on this, and there is one up at the top there as well. That is because the HTC Titan can do stereo sound recording when recording video, which, well, somewhere down this page there will be an example of video, and I'll click to the right and to the left, which you probably cannot hear properly on my camera because it doesn't record in stereo, as far as I know. I may prove myself wrong with that. Anyway, that's beside the point. On the back here we have the 8 megapixel camera, which I must say does work quite nicely. I've taken many a nice photo on this, and it is also specifically meant to be very good at doing better quality shots in low light. Now, I have tested this out a little bit, and it is surprisingly good actually in some circumstances. Even when it's really quite dark outside, it can take quite, well, it's a much brighter image than you would get on most other smartphones. However, it is still not as detailed or sharp or, well, anything as you would expect during the day or in better lighting. However, to aid with that, we have the 2 little LEDs there for the flash, and next to it is the loudspeaker, which, as I explained somewhere in this article, is rather loud. Yes. So, going back to the microphones, there's two little pinholes there, and oh look, there's 2 little pinholes there, and oh, also 2 little pinholes there. Now, I have no idea if they are some kind of magical array of microphones which cancel out all noise in the universe, but They mystify me. Why are they there? I mean, this button that I mentioned down here earlier, when you press that, it pretty much divides this phone into two. So you can, in fact, see the insides of this. So you can take out the 1,600 milliamp hours battery, which, on a side note, actually helps this phone to last for quite a surprising amount of time, considering the higher spec processor and larger screen than most other Windows phones. So you get to see all the lovely insides. But yes, I'm still mystified as to what those things actually are, but that's just me being ignorant. SIM card slot. Sadly, no micro SD card slot. Because it's a Windows phone, it won't support external storage. So if you're hoping to expand it, then you're out of luck. But this model, I don't know if it's available in different models, but this has got 16 gigabytes of storage in. You have access to about, I think it's 13 or 14 of that. Sadly, not all of it, because Windows takes up a bit of that space and stuff like that. Now, onto the other half of this. This is the unibody shell. Almost all of this, except for like that part there and that up there, which has kind of got a rubberized feel to it, which feels quite nice. But the rest of this is metal. It is all made from one sheet of metal. Well, not one sheet, but one block, or however they do it, it is one piece. And it feels quite nice. When you leave your phone alone for a while and then pick it up, this is nice and freezing cold, which feels quite reassuring, actually. So yes, this is made out of one piece of metal, which is one of the highlights of this. It's got the HTC logo etched into there, and also the Windows Phone logo, which is another requirement put on by Microsoft, which I think is a little unnecessary, actually. As a designer, a while back, I tried designing a Windows Phone as a university project, actually, and having to actually include that Windows Phone logo was a bit of a hassle because it just messed up my design, made it look terrible. Anyway, that's, yeah, I digress. So, that is actually where the antenna is. So, if you cover that up entirely, you won't get any reception, but it normally helps if this is on the device. So, one point that I make in this article somewhere is that it feels almost like a case that you would get for other phones, such as for the iPhone, you can get those rubberized cases which go all the way around the outside of the device. This does pretty much sit inside this, and the case surrounds it. So there is just simply one piece, which is the screen, showing through. Everything else is hidden, excluding the camera, but is hidden all within this metal body, which I quite like. I do very much like that. It is a very intriguing design. It is interesting, and it is incredibly sturdy and firm. It feels good quality, which is hopefully by now what you should come to expect from HTC, but yeah, so that should probably sum that up. So here is a quick comparison of, well, the LG Optimus 7 and the HTC Titan, because these are the two different Windows phones that I have at the moment. Now, the Titan is a lot taller than the Optimus 7. Let's see if I can actually get that in. So yeah, that's a lot taller. It is a lot wider. Ooh. Let's turn the screens off, shall we? So yes, generally it is bigger in every single dimension, except for thickness. It is actually a lot thinner, which is quite impressive. Makes this thing feel a bit like a kind of huge block. So other differences: huge screen on the Titan, absolutely dwarfs the screen on the Optimus 7. Well, they're the same resolution, so in theory the Titan shouldn't look as crisp, perhaps, as the Optimus 7, but I can't really see too much of a difference. They both seem to look alright, unless you go into something like Hotmail, in which case you can see the application bar icons. These things down here, those. Now, on the Optimus 7, looks perfectly fine, but on the Titan, that is when you start to notice a bit of pixelation, because those icons just do not look anywhere near as good. However, the text, actually, let's go open up a different email account just so you can see even more of my emails. The text itself on screen on the Titan does look surprisingly nice still, despite increasing the resolution no, not increasing the resolution whilst increasing the size, it is still surprisingly nice, because Windows Phone does a nice job of smoothing fonts on screen, but it does less of a good job with the icons down there, because they don't get any special treatment. Poor things. So yes, the colours on these screens, just to compare those, I don't know how well this will show up on my camera. Let's put them both into, well, as bright as they can go. Well, first of all, the the Titan is brighter, but the colour is more vivid on the Optimus 7. Now that's the kind of thing which I cannot really, well, show easily, but one thing that I can show easily is the darkness, well, the contrast of these screens. The Optimus 7 isn't anywhere near as dark as the Titan, which, just simply comparing the backgrounds there, it is much more difficult to differentiate between the bezel and the actual screen on the Titan than it is on the Optimus 7. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The volume rockers are on opposing sides, but being Windows phones, they are still very similar. They both actually have metal backs. This has got a cover on though, but that is a metal piece there, and that's practically engulfing the thing in metal. And so yes, that is those two. Let's see what else I can compare it to. Over here I have a HTC Touch, pretty much their first kind of phone which was in competition with the iPhone, and yeah, the entire HTC Touch is the same size as the screen on the Titan, and the Titan, believe it or not, is thinner than the HTC Touch. Then again, there is a good few years in between these devices, and also the screen is, you know, slightly bigger, and I don't think this actually even works anymore. But that doesn't matter. Anyway, let's get rid of that one. Let's see, just to actually prove to people out there, show them that the screen is really as big as they say it is, I have my nice shiny ruler here, which doesn't actually show up anywhere near as good as it should do. So, let's see, that is, from that corner up to that corner, 4.7 inches. I don't know how well you can see that, but there's proof. What else can I... If that's not, you know, good enough for you, let's compare it to some real-life thing, which everyone will be able to appreciate and love. Here is a little Lego figure. I think every time I do... Ooh, ambulance, or police, or something. Anyway, every time I do a device review, I will compare it to a Lego figure, because everyone knows the size of a Lego figure, and so it should become the new universal measurement. I'll take off his hair so you can see better. So that is just how huge the HTC Titan is compared to a Lego man. Let's see, let's put them next to each other. Yeah, the Titan is slightly bigger. Fantastic. Anyway, that should probably sum it up for the hardware. The camera, I'll include some photos later on and speak a bit more about it when I do the software review. But I don't want to go into that too much right now. So yes, that seems to be it. Thank you for watching. Stick around for another couple of days. Hopefully tomorrow, the software review of the HTC Titan should go up onto 1800pocketpc.com. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and I haven't waffled on too much. And yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.